Hi, I'm Sam.
And I'm Samri.
And welcome to the Lines Between the Stars podcast. Cool. We're doing another podcast. Yay.
It's November.
November, fall time / winter.
Yeah, the time has moved forward, right?
Clocks have moved back an hour.
Moved back.
And we have gotten an extra hour of sleep today.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
It started at midnight last night, right?
2 a.m. actually.
2 a.m.
Officially, they go back at 2 a.m. Yeah. I honestly, nowadays, I don't really see the point of daylight savings. Really, other than it's old and it's a pain to it's
change things.
To change things, you know.
Yeah, like in my car, I have to change it on.
Yeah.
Like.
Or like on an infrastructure level, I suppose like it's a pain to change things, but like really like, I don't see the point of doing daylight savings, you know.
It does get dark earlier though.
Yeah.
These days.
Yeah.
It's nice to be like, it's a reasonable time at a reasonable sunlight level.
But the U.S. is like the only like country that like does this.
Oh.
So it's inconvenient interacting with people outside of it internationally, because now you have to be like, oh, daylight savings, and that's like another thing you have to update. You have to tell people or something like that.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Like when we say time zone, it's not exactly accurate.
And
I think Arizona is the only state that's like, no, we're not going to. They opted out of the time zone. I have a friend who lives in Arizona, so it's inconvenient. Sometimes it's like funky to like interact with them because they don't deal with daylight savings. But yeah, what's going on with our lives? Let's see. Things are going good. Samri is doing things at her job. I'm doing things at my job.
Yeah.
We'd be shuffling around, you know.
Yeah.
Pretty fun things. Yeah, and then I think so I, after like not touching it for like a year, I like started playing Animal Crossing again.
Oh, so it's been a while.
It's been a while for me, and I noticed a couple new things. I noticed there's more inclusive hairstyles in the game now.
Yeah, they have afro.
They have afro buns, I think.
Cornrows,
all like.
And they even have like the thing that black men get when they wear durags.
Okay, yeah. And then
spirals.
they have an afro. They have like afro, and then they also have like afro buns. So I remember, actually when I was looking it up, there was like some controversy, like apparently when that happened or something like that.
Oh my gosh!
Something
what
about
did they say?
Well, it's more like white people being like, "Oh, aren't these space buns cute?" And then people are like, "They're not space buns. They're
buns."
Yeah, because I think like in a different Animal Crossing game, they had like space buns, which were like the white girl version of it with like textured with like, you know, straight. It's more like straight hair that's like tied up into buns rather than like an afro, more rather than having it like, you know, because when you look at the thing now, you can tell that it's textured to like look like kinky hair, you know, like kinky hair and that sort of thing, right?
How can white women have buns?
I can show you.
Okay.
I can show you.
That's interesting.
Let's see.
There's ponytails.
Yeah, there's ponytails. But let's see. This is
They were saying it's space buns, not
afro buns, and some people were getting mad. I don't know who actually gets mad about it, but like, you know. Let's see. Yeah, and so people are like, Yeah, we're just looking at an article right now, pulling it up, waiting for things. Let's see. Solve an image, that's an ad. Let's see. They had another image. Yeah, that's what they looked like in a different game. In a different game.
Interesting.
Yeah. There we go, because they're like different textured hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
it's a different type, and then some people are like, oh, it's not like or like or maybe it's like appropriation when like someone has like a white character wear that hairstyle,
Oh.
that hairstyle.
Okay.
But usually those people who complain about that aren't usually black,
Oh, really?
I feel like black people are like, can't just do whatever, like,
Interesting.
Yeah, I feel like appropriation tends to be complained about mostly by like people of a different ethnicity.
Oh.
But then I don't know. I guess like in the same case, like whether it's like done respectfully or not is like a different thing. Like I remember reading an article how like this guy he was married inside like what was it? He had a Muslim wedding or something like that.
Okay.
And then he married at like the temple, and people are like, "Oh, this guy's appropriating our thing, our thing." And the guy's like, "Dude, I converted." He's like, "I'm Muslim."
Oh, okay.
He's like, "I'm Muslim. I converted. So of course I'm gonna have no wedding at the, like,
Oh, okay.
and then, but people had like that knee-jerk reaction, knee-jerk reaction.
So he's white, I'm guessing.
Yeah, he was white. Or it's kind of like, I think there was one time I think a white girl like wore in like an aliyah or something like that, which is like a Vietnamese dress, but then like she and her friends, and she wore for like prom, and she and her friends did like this like hands together like weird like cringe pose, and people were like appropriation. I feel like if they like took the pictures without doing that, like it would have been fine. It would have been fine, right? Because doing that is kind of like that's kind of iffy. That bit's a little bit iffy.
Oh, okay. It's very nuanced. It is
nuanced, and then like I think there are cases of like I think a white woman like using like putting on dreads or some like putting on like black hairstyle, and people are like appropriation.
Yeah, at my Pilates place, there's a white woman who has locks.
Oh, that's cool. I'm supposed to say that, right? That like it's like sometimes I don't know. Sometimes I don't know. Sometimes I'm like, oh, yay, that's good, right? Speaking of hair, we had a funny story. So I think so we had messed up the timing on washing our sheets and like pillowcases and stuff like that, and we had like kind of forgot about that, and they were like wet and not in the dryer. And it was maybe like 1 or 12 a.m. or like in the morning, at night. Yeah. So I was like trying to. Unfortunately, it was like, okay, we have extra sheets and like stuff like that. But I was like, oh, the pillowcases aren't silk. And then I was like, oh, she has like a head wrap, right? For these situations. And I was like, wait, I should just make sure. And I go, it's like, babe, you have a head wrap, right? And
I was like, wait. Why is he asking? I kept asking him, what are you saying?
And I'm like, okay, look. And then I just explained, it's like, look, we're using like regular cotton pillowcases. Yeah. I'm like, is your hair going to be okay? Okay. We haven't, because ever since you got locks, you've been pretty more relaxed about your hair,
That's true. Yeah.
So like, it's been a while, so I wasn't sure if like it mattered for your locks or not.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because
you still put on the head. You usually still put on the head, head like a head wrap or something like that.
Yeah, I've been kind of like not wearing the head wraps as much these days too, because I'm like, I don't need it. I have the silk.
Yeah, you have a silk pillowcase, and then you have locks. So
yeah, so I don't really worry about how I sleep.
Okay, cool.
But this kind of incident is like something that non-black men kind of worry about, it seems like, because like he seemed pretty stressed out. I was like, it's okay.
I was just concerned for you. I was just concerned.
Yeah,
I was just concerned. I was
because I was like working on like different videos for YouTube.
Yeah,
and then
because like in the past you've had major freakouts. about
With
this
hair.
about this exact thing, you know.
Yeah.
Like you would like night ruined if like you were like at my place, like while we were just dating, like at my place, and like I don't have a headscarf.
Really?
Yeah. You're like, and you're like super frustrated, like very frustrated.
Oh dang.
And stuff, and that's why you're like, we need to get silk pillowcases.
And then
I got silk pillowcases.
yeah, that's true.
You know?
That was like a major progression in our relationship when you got silk pillowcases.
I was like, okay, sure, I'll get silk pillowcases. All right.
Yeah, it shows that he cares.
Yeah. So we've had those.
It was a touching moment.
We've had those silk pillowcases for a while, but we just had like tonight or last night, which we didn't. So I was like, wait, are we going to be okay? Are we going to be okay? Don't have to worry.
Can you still sleep?
Can you still sleep? Your hair won't explode, will it?
Yeah. It'll just start falling apart.
Yeah, but yeah, that was a fun story. And
yeah.
Other things, got a fire extinguisher because I think we watched a Korean drama where like a fire was started in the kitchen because like the stove was left on.
Yeah.
And then I got to thinking, I should because I was thinking, I don't usually leave the stove on. I'm pretty good at that. But Samory is not.
Yeah, I have melted a pot.
Yeah.
Before. And like a neighbor had to come break into the apartment we used to be in and like turn it off the stove.
Yeah.
Because like there was fire coming out.
Yeah. And that neighbor doesn't want to deal with that fire because
it'll burn down the whole complex. But yeah.
I was like, no, I need a fire extinguisher for my wife who may or may not leave the stove on.
Yeah, I tend to be I get distracted really easily.
You get really distracted. I will tell you, like you'll ask, how can I help? And I'm like, can you cut up these vegetables? And then you'll like say, yeah, sure. And then by the time I'm done with my thing, and I'm expecting vegetables cut, it hasn't even been started, so I just cut the vegetables anyway.
Yeah, and then I'm like, oh no! You've already started doing something I was supposed to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like my mind is like, I might have like undiagnosed ADHD.
Yeah.
We've also talked about that.
Yeah, we've talked about that.
Cause like, I just like, it's too, I don't know.
Like, you'll like do completely something else. Right?
Yeah. Cause like in my mind, I'm like, I should be doing something else.
Yeah.
Like, just doing one thing at a time is too hard.
It's not just one thing. You'll do, and you don't usually do like one other thing. You'll do 3 other things. Because if it's just like, cooking and then also doing the dishes, that's fine. Like, I do that all the time. That's fine. But you kind of like do that and you sweep the floor.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and then I start watching a YouTube video.
Yeah, and then you start watching a YouTube video. Like usually for me, like it's just cooking YouTube video or cooking dishes.
Okay, 2 things.
Just 2 things. That's like my max. Right? And sometimes I'm not even watching a YouTube video. Like I'll have it running as audio only. Like I'm not even like active. Like usually, and it's like I just specifically usually put on podcasts. While I'm doing cooking, because it's not something I watch.
Something you don't need to pay attention to.
Yeah, I don't pay attention to it, but I can like still enjoy it by listening to it.
Yeah, because things, like especially when you're cooking, you have to pay attention.
You have to pay attention.
Food.
You pay attention to food, like you pay attention to food.
My patience is really low though when I cook.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, how long is this?
You also cook really low temperatures as well, so like it takes even longer to cook.
Yeah, I mean like I want to, since that incident where like I burned the pot, because like I just like left it on. I think there was like water in it, and obviously it evaporated.
Yeah.
And then I just like left the apartment.
Yeah.
Took the bus somewhere. to the
Jeez.
library.
Jeez.
Yeah, so like since then I'm more reluctant to putting things on high heat.
Yeah. Though
That's
that
why-
hasn't actually fixed the problem, because the problem is you leaving the thing on the stove.
Mm-hmm.
The same problem would happen even if you put it on like low heat.
Less likely though, because when I left the apartment, it was on
Mhm.
high heat
Okay.
and it melted the
Yeah.
thing.
Also, yeah, usually a lot of times, like, there's rarely the moment you need to actually leave things on high heat unless you're like actually boiling water.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Or like doing like stir fry. You're usually like, for most things, you leave it on like medium heat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like for me, I don't put most stuff like higher than a 6 on the stove.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Unless you're doing stir fry.
Unless I'm doing stir
'Cause
fry or something.
I also make ginger tea,
Yeah.
and I've left it on
Mm-hmm.
low, but it
Yeah.
still kind of burns.
Yeah.
There's been multiple.
Yeah. That's true. But yeah, because like with tea, it's kind of more like you don't leave it cooking for a while. You just kind of seep it for like a bit and you take it out, and then you take it out.
Yeah. Since you started the tea subscription, it's been
Mhm.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a pot, or not a pot. It's like
Like a teapot. It's like a teapot. And it
just
has a little
put
filter.
hot water in
You
it.
just put hot water in it. It's a cute thing. It's a cute
Yeah.
thing.
That's true. It makes
Yeah.
like 2 cups or something.
Yeah, it makes 2 cups. You know.
Yeah, and that's been nice
Yeah.
actually. And these days I've been in need of drinking black tea
Yeah.
because I just crash in the afternoon.
Yeah.
I
Oh yeah, you
Yeah.
get that feeling. Now you start that dev life, and you're just like, I need caffeine.
yeah.
Yeah.
It must be the occupation.
It's like it's an occupational requirement almost.
Yeah.
Mostly just because it's just like, it just wakes you up and like.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't wake you up. How caffeine works is that it dulls the tired receptors,
Oh, okay.
so it makes you not feel tired.
Does it help you think more?
Well, when you're tired, it's harder to think.
Oh,
'Cause,
okay.
like
okay.
your
yeah.
brain is like actively, when your brain receives the signals that it's tired,
Yeah.
it starts shutting down systems, so you sleep, right?
Mhm, mhm.
So in the case of caffeine, it blocks those receptors from actually activating, and then you are able to think because your brain hasn't shut down.
Oh, okay.
Your brain isn't like shutting things down.
Yeah, I've survived high school and college without relying on caffeine.
Yeah.
That's why I'm kind of scared about getting hooked on caffeine.
Well, like you aren't doing like 5 cups of like coffee a day or drinking Monster energy drinks. And heck, like at least we're drinking tea, which is rather healthy and has other health benefits aside from like the caffeine, you know?
Okay. Yeah, because I do have low tolerance.
Yeah.
Or what is it called? Sensitivity?
Well, you have high sensitivity, high
Yeah.
caffeine sensitivity.
Yeah, because just like my brain
Yeah.
gets buzzed.
Yeah.
Like,
But I think like having tea is good enough, right? You're not drinking like soda, coffee,
Energy drinks,
or
yeah.
energy drinks, right?
Yeah. I had 2 gulps of 5-hour energy once,
Yeah.
and I thought I was gonna pass
Yeah.
out.
I had definitely used 5-hour energy drinks to replace sleep. But like you build up I think I've heard the phrase sleep debt. Right?
What's that?
That's when you lose a lot of sleep and you have like a normal amount of sleep like the next day, but like you aren't rested. You still have to make up those hours of sleep at some point.
Oh, okay. So
You
you
know?
have to keep sleeping.
So there's going to be a time where you just sleep for like a long period. Right? Like say you have a time where you're like, okay, you slept like 3 hours one day, and then the next couple days you sleep like 8. But you still have to make up for the 5 hours that you've missed at some point.
Oh, okay.
Right? That's sleep debt.
That's interesting.
And I definitely feel it. Like, you know, there are times where like I would Yeah, and then it means also like if you have a run of like not sleeping a lot, you're going to have to make it up at some point.
I've found that like if I sleep at least 10 hours a night, it's good for my skin.
Yeah, probably.
It becomes like really supple and moisturized.
Yeah, sleep is really good for your like skin and the recovery. Like people, like there's a weird culture in America about bragging about how little sleep you get. You know, people are like, oh, I only sleep like 4 hours. You know, or I only sleep like 3. Oh, I haven't slept in 5 days. Maybe not that extreme, but you know what I mean, right? You've probably met someone who's like brags about how little sleep they get. And
being the most productive.
Yeah, but that's actually like not good. You're probably less productive in those like hours you work than if you had just slept more and then like worked, right?
Yeah, because it is definitely an American culture, because apparently in Europe, I'm guessing in Asia though, they're worse than us.
They're probably worse.
Yeah, they want to be super productive even more than Americans. So
yeah, it's like and it's just like actually like recently, just like people are just like sleep study has like come out being like, you just need sleep.
Yeah,
you just need sleep, and then that like you'll be more productive with like less periods of time, less periods of times rather than crunching hours on. And I felt that during school, like during college, where like I would have like all-nighters, but then like I wouldn't be able to like retain anything.
You
like, it was
forget
like the worst.
everything.
Yeah, you forget it. I forget everything. But if I sleep and then like come back to it, and then like that hour after I wake up from like, you know, the time after getting rested, it is much better than if I had stayed up the entire night and continued to sleep. Right?
Yeah. It's because like sleep is very underrated.
Yeah.
Because it's something that anyone can do. So productive and overachiever people are like, well, you know, lazy people sleep, so I'm not lazy, so I'm not gonna sleep.
I like actively dislike the overproductive culture sometimes of like people who are like, oh, like I put all these hours into a thing, you know, and it's like I'm like, it's kind of a pain.
Yeah.
I think haven't we like also talked about like see, you wrote down Prodigy there on the thing. So.
No, we haven't talked about it.
Okay, are we talking about Star Trek Prodigy or are we talking about
Star
Prodigies?
Trek.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh, like
prodigies in general, like,
who don't sleep or whatever,
or like, you know, people who are like gifted, talented or something like that. I was just
who peak during childhood.
Yeah, they peak during childhood because I've definitely seen like people in college who are like gifted prodigies and then like crash and burn in college and just flunk everything.
You know, I just thought maybe the whole Prodigy, like them crashing and burning, might be because they're not street smart, or they've been sheltered.
Yeah, I mean, there's also a thing with like I think usually what happens is that during high school and stuff like that, and like up from elementary school, middle school, high school, they didn't need to try hard.
Yeah.
To like
everything's easy.
Everything is extremely easy. So they don't need to put any effort into it. And then when you get to college, that's when you actually have to put effort into things, right? And then they like go in and then they're like, oh, how do I study? And they haven't built up good study habits.
Yeah.
So they don't know that, like, you know, they have to just like study a little bit every day or something like that, or they'll just like maybe they'll just like start cramming at the last minute, right?
Yeah.
So those are all mistakes you make in like high school, middle school. I feel like where like you try doing that and then you're like, oh fuck. You're like, oh man, I'm so like I can't deal with this.
And also, college is designed to create like critical thinkers.
Yeah.
Versus high school it was originally designed, at least in the US, to produce factory workers.
Yeah.
So you didn't have to think too much.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So it's definitely a good idea. Oh, and also we talked about, I think yesterday, about how like in Asian households you get tutored, you go to
like cram schools or something like that. Like I remember going to cram schools in like high school, middle school, and there was like the place I went to also had like elementary school kids that like did, and I did volunteering by grading like the elementary school papers and doing some like tutoring, you know.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it's kind of like it's definitely an Asian thing, right?
Was it helpful?
It was all right. I mean, for me, it's just once again, it's just more studying, and I think for me, I learned in college that like you can dial back the studying, and then you'll still be good if you just take breaks. Because like you're actively pulling it out of long-term memory rather than short-term memory.
Yeah.
I think what I actually needed to do was just study a little bit a day, like you know, like maybe like an hour a day, rather than like try to put like multiple like long crunches. Because when you do long crunches of studying, you're just shoving things in short-term memory.
Okay.
But like if you put it away for a while and then come back to it, you are practicing pulling it out of long-term memory.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Okay.
You pull it out of long-term memory, and then that actively helps you pull things out of like you know, it's like kind of like there's this door that's like locked tight, and then if you try to open that door, it's like kind of hard to pull in. But if you keep doing it, it gets easier to open the door because you're used to it. You know, like the tricks to this door. You know the tricks to this door. You can find the key faster or something like that.
You're exercising your brain.
Yeah, it's like brain exercise. Right?
And I think, I don't know, but long-term memory, it might be also where you get the higher level functions, like critical thinking and stuff like that.
Because like some of the basic stuff needs to be achieved like unconscious, like you know, at like an unconscious level, I'd say, you know, like you like stuff like adding, subtracting, right? You have to be able to do that like without thinking, you know, like you do that without thinking, right? You just look at it and you're like, oh, it's like that. It's like that. And then because you're fast at that point, you go to like calculus, right? Which you need to be able to do all that. It's built on the foundations of like all this other stuff that you pull out really fast. Yeah.
You took calculus in high school.
Yeah, I took calculus and then I went up to multivariable and then did some and then I proceeded to flunk out of logistical proofs, mathematical proofs.
I have never heard of those two things.
Mathematical proofs are crazy. Oh my gosh. Those are hard. Those are the problems you work on a single problem for hours.
Interesting.
Like, because you have to figure, it's like a puzzle that you know these like mathematical formulas and like these theorems, and you use them to prove a mathematical like concept.
Okay.
And it's bonkers. It's like the biggest brain thing that like I've done, and like I proceeded to flunk that class.
It seems like you enjoyed it though.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It was hard though, like because like, you know, it's one of those things where it's like I tend to like miss like mistakes early on. So if I made a mistake early on, it like catches up to me like later on, and I have a hard time finding it.
Interesting.
Yeah. And there's not many tools. There's not. It's like debugging, except you don't have tools to help you find it.
Oh. Okay.
You know.
Okay.
And I always thought that people who were good at proofs were like crazy. I had a friend who was in the math major, and I'm just like, dude, that's insane with these like mathematical proofs. I can't do it. It's hard. And then multivariable, like finding derivatives and integrals are fun. I like finding the derivative functions and like finding the integrals, you know, and being able to find like, oh, what's the area underneath this curve from point A to point B.
Oh.
That's what you use integrals for. And if you're thinking, why does that matter? Right?
Yeah.
It matters for physics. all honesty, it matters for physics and for learning like acceleration versus velocity. Given like a certain amount of like acceleration, what velocity are you at after like 15 minutes?
Okay.
Which is important for like rockets and stuff. Or like how do you decelerate, like, or if you start decelerating, at what point do you reach a velocity of 0? What point do you reach a velocity of 0?
So like if I work at a car company or something, I don't know.
Or rocket, like NASA. If you want to work at NASA, you need to know that stuff, right? Like rockets and stuff like that. And pretty much like I think about when I drive, I think about that passively.
Really?
Like, passively, you know?
Oh, okay. That's why you're always like at a distance from the car in front of you.
Yeah, because I know that like I know that when you decelerate, then you're gonna need it's gonna take time to like actually slow down. Yeah. Right. And then you take into account water skate, like texture of the ground. If there's wetness on the ground, then that causes friction. That reduces resistance.
Yeah. There was a lot of accidents. So like it hadn't rained for a while, I think.
Yeah.
And then there was a storm.
Yeah.
Remember when we went to the beach? And then right in front of us, there was an accident that happened, and I was like, "Wait, what?"
Knowing about physics is really good when it like it snows and then you're trying to like drive in the snow.
Does it really help with like?
I know, like when I know the theory.
Your driving methods and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, like I know the theory. I know why I do the thing. Like I know because there are times where like people are like, "Oh, this is what you have to do when you drive." But then you just think like, "Oh, why do I have to do it?" And the reason why you have to do it is because physics. Right, and if you understand the physics behind it, you're more likely to be like, "Oh yeah, that makes sense," you know.
Okay.
Oh yeah, that makes like how kind of like when I tell you like cooking things, and I've been getting to the habit of telling you like the physical or chemical reactions why, and then you're like, oh, that makes sense. That makes sense, and you're more likely to do it rather than if I just tell you do this because I told you to. Right. Okay. So instead, like I'll be like, oh, do this because one thing for example, like when you stir fry, if you shake it all a lot, then you're not giving the time for like a side to like cook and properly like cook, and you keep doing it. You're not giving the heat enough time to actually cause the chemical reaction of cooking on the like vegetable or meat or something like that.
Yeah, that is helpful. It's kind of like made me think about parenting styles. Yeah, and how some parents explain things to their kids versus others are like, do it because I told you to.
Yeah, and a lot of times those parents who say like do it because I told you to don't know. Like
or they don't have time to explain.
Yeah, they don't have time to explain that too. I like to do it as like a way of I would like to do it as like a way to like do it. Maybe I'd change it. I don't know. I've been debating back and forth of like do I make it kind of like sound kind of more fun, or do I actually just go real legit and try to just do it and just like, because it's like kind of like, oh, if you dumb it, actually just go real legit and try to just do it and just like, because it's like kind of like, oh, if you dumb it down, then you're not respecting your child's intelligence. But maybe you want to make it sound more fun.
Make it more
because
so they can understand.
Like for example, if a kid asks you the simple question, how does a light bulb work? Well, electron particles are running through the wires at extremely high pace that causes a like reaction in the metal that causes it to heat up and then thus bright. Oh, okay. Right. But what you can do is be like, oh yeah, little fairies are running around in the wires. They run, and when you turn on the switch, it tells them to go run really fast. And then when they're running really fast, the light bulb glows more when it does it because the light bulb's special that way.
Interesting. Well, I'm not a kid, so I don't know if
but that sounds fun. That sounds fun, right?
Okay.
I mean, we all have like like even like back in the day, like we would think of like myths to explain like the unknown, like the unknown, right?
Yeah, yeah.
At least this time, like I'd be like saying like, oh, there are fairies called electrons.
Yeah.
You know?
It's just, at what point do you not tell them fairy tales though?
Yeah.
Or like, would that make them think, oh, my dad has been lying to me this whole time?
I here's the thing. I would do this to my nieces and nephews, and now I'm permanently a liar.
Oh no, really?
It's like, oh, Uncle Sam lies.
Oh no.
So I'm like, oh, okay. So yeah, I stopped doing. So I'm like, okay, I think next time, like if I have kids, I'm just gonna be straight with them, just tell them like, how it works.
Yeah, I think that's better.
Yeah, and I remember my dad. I remember when I'd asked things. He just got this big book. He had bought this book of how things work.
Oh, okay.
And he's like, look it up.
Oh. he got tired of all your questions.
Well, no, he was like, I think he liked answering you, but like he'd be like, oh, well, let's look it up, And he like, we would like look it up and like see how like how does an airplane work, and we saw this like diagram of like an airplane that was like drawn.
I like those books.
Yeah, and and I think as an adult it's good to learn too.
Yeah.
Like I'm pretty sure that like there's a lot of people out there who don't know how something minor work, like something minor works.
Yeah.
I bet there's a lot of people who don't know how an airplane works exactly, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's
or like
fun...
gardening, things that are useful to your everyday life.
Yeah.
I think it's important to learn about those things.
And
also keep your mind active.
Yeah, it keeps your mind active.
Because we're watching this Korean drama about an
it's like about this old man who he wants to take up ballerina, but then like he's hiding the fact that he has Alzheimer's from everyone. And but like I'm like, like that's actually a good hobby to keep your mind active, mind active.
Yeah. And like different actions and songs and stuff. People with Alzheimer's, they would remember memories using the songs and different images and stuff like that. So.
And I guess it's also hard, like if you're like in a rough spot, it's hard to like put time into like hobbies and stuff like that too, right? It's like a very much it sucks to say, but like hobbies are a privilege sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Unless your hobby is something that like is like good for your day to day, like say like for me, my hobby is cooking, so like it doesn't feel bad when I like cook.
Yeah. Yeah, and people are less likely to blame you or like look down on your hobby as a cook.
Yeah, exactly. People are usually pretty impressed.
Yeah, especially as a man.
Yeah. That was always the thing. Yeah, guys, I keep saying this, if you want a gal to like you a lot, just cook a meal for them. Yeah,
you're always like, oh, now you can't leave me.
You can't leave without me. I've made you dependent.
Then
you can't escape.
Yeah. I mean, I've been learning.
You've been learning, yeah.
About cooking and stuff. So I can survive, but yeah.
Yeah, it's and like here, you don't want to be the guy who's like super dependent on like your wife to like cook,
Yeah.
And also, ladies out there, because we live in a
egalitarian.
Yeah, we live in a world where like gender rules are kind of being broken down. So there's a lot of girls out there who don't know how to cook either.
Yeah.
So don't learn how to cook because you're a girl and you're supposed to. Learn because you're a human being and you need to know how to cook and sustain yourself.
Yeah, you don't want to open the fridge and be like,
what do I do?
There's nothing in here.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what happens to me all the time.
Yeah, and then like sometimes the fridge is stuffed full of food and you're like, what? There's nothing in here.
There's nothing to eat.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah.
And like, I'll be able to go to the grocery stores and like figure out like what your staples are, what you can do.
Oh, and let's mention another emergency preparedness thing.
Oh yeah.
On top of getting a fire extinguisher, you should also get a cooking, what is it called?
Like a camping stove. Yeah.
With butane tanks. That way, when the lights go off, then you have something to heat food with.
Yeah.
And
Don't
also
use it
get
as a
canned stuff.
Yeah. Don't use it as a heater though, because like there are cases where people like use like a gas stove to try to like warm up the family, and then it causes like suffocation and stuff like that. So be careful about that.
In Texas, a lot of people poison themselves.
Yeah, like they'll use like their camping grill. They'll use a camping thing, or they'll use their grill or something like that to like try to warm up. And it's like it causes poison.
I mean, if you need to warm yourself up, I guess make sure there's
your ventilation.
Air.
Yeah, make sure you get air, right? That's important. But yeah, like that happened a lot. But yeah, like emergency preparedness, canned beans, spam, stuff like that, right? I mean, yeah, rice works. You can cook it on the campfire stove top, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
rice and beans.
Rice and beans that's like, you know, classic meal that like can feed
it
you
has
for
protein and also get multivitamin pills.
Yeah.
I think that's really helpful too.
Let's see. But yeah, like you can also, if you're into it, like canned veggies too. I don't exactly like canned veggies, but it does keep it preserved for a long periods of time.
Yeah.
Canning has been like a really big godsend of like, you know, like for like modernization, I believe.
Okay.
Because it really changed like how like we view food and like preserve it, and allows us to like transport it as well.
So was that invented recently?
Like the last couple centuries, I think. Believe the last couple centuries. There have been like jarred stuff, you know, like jarred stuff, but canning itself, like canning, really preserved food for long periods of time, right? And it really allowed like America to be actually like pretty economically strong for like a while, because essentially like they could, for example, and the whole thing is like they had, in California, they had all these foods, they had all this produce and stuff like that at the time, right? But they didn't have the refrigeration technology to like transport it from West Coast to East Coast, especially via these trains, right? They needed like giant blocks of ice, but that can only last so long, right? They had techniques for like preserving ice, but like, you know, it doesn't last forever, right? And so canning was used to transport these goods that we made from one side of the United States to the other side of the United States. Effectively, without like it spoiling. Right? Oh,
and also you were mentioning to me, you were telling me how Americans don't know how to cook because
everything was
canning.
Like canning. Like everything just came from a can. So like there's like a good amount of time where a lot of Americans didn't cook with like fresh ingredients. And then also like the Great Depression also like changed how like we like saw food. Like meatloaf was made to like expand the usage of meat for like a bigger family and stuff like that.
And also there's all these different grains that were subsidized by the government.
Yeah, and then a lot of companies came out to like be like, oh yeah, pre-cooked food, you know, like processed foods, right? That became highly popular, promoted, popular, right? And so like it isn't until like now recently you see like this movement of like, let's actually use the real ingredients, you know?
Oh, okay.
Right? Instead of like getting like processed meat, stuff like that. It's like, oh, let's learn about these different cuts of meat.
Oh, okay.
You know, let's learn about the different cuts of meat that there are out there, and like learn how to cook with them, you know, like learn how to cook with them, right?
Okay.
Like you know, like beef has bunch of different cuts. Like sure, there's like the top sirloin, stuff like that. There's also tri-tip and then flanks, you know, that aren't used as often.
Oh. Yeah, I don't know what those are, but
yeah. Okay. Or like you know, like
are they tougher to eat?
They take a bit longer to cook because they are tougher. They have more muscle. They have more muscle tissue.
Okay.
So like it's less fatty, but it is more tough because there's less fat in it. Because it's mostly muscle. and you need to cook that for longer so that you reach a state of like you cook it for a long period of time until like the muscles tighten up so much that they have to relax because they can't tighten up anymore. And when it relaxes, then you get really soft meat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. For like stuff like braising and stuff like that, you know. And here's the thing, I think cooking is a good survival skill too. You know, if
in case of a zombie apocalypse.
Yep. Yep.
Or I mean, like preparing for a zombie apocalypse
is a good way to like practice for like any natural disaster.
Yeah.
Like I think the CDC actually used like the zombie apocalypse as like a method of like being like, this is how you prepare for like like, you know, like natural disasters and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so it's always fun, you know. And I remember reading a book called like Guide to like Surviving a Zombie Apocalypse.
Okay.
And it was just like a good survival tip guide too, you know. Like for example, hey, bikes are going to be really important, like, you know, bikes would be more important than cars are in the case of just total societal collapse.
Oh, okay.
Because one, where are you going to get gasoline? Gasoline needs to be like extracted out in the earth. And unlike what these movies say where they say, oh, this car has gasoline, let's use it. Gasoline has an expiration date.
Oh, really?
Yes. Gasoline does not last for an eternity.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Like it stops giving
It will
energy?
evaporate. It will evaporate.
Oh.
It will evaporate. That's why it's in tanks, right?
Okay.
So like, you know how we saw those people like hoarding gasoline with like, you know, putting in plastic bags and stuff like that? That stuff's going to evaporate.
That's true, yeah.
And they call it gas, right? You know, like its state is that it wants to become air. It wants to become air.
Oh.
That's why it smells so bad.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're smelling the evaporation. You're smelling it's like immediate evaporation. Right?
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, so like bikes will be more important because one, you can take a bike anywhere. You know, it's easy to like. You can take a bike anywhere.
Yeah, you can fix it easily.
Yeah, maintenance is easier. Learning how to maintain a bike is definitely a lot easier than learning how to maintain a car.
Yeah.
It's a lot simpler in comparison, right? And it's very efficient of getting you from point A to point B.
Yeah, and it keeps you fit.
Yeah, it keeps you fit, you know? And yeah, like bikes will do you much better.
Interesting. I should get a bike.
We do have a bike.
But it's electric. What?
We have an electric bike, but like, a regular bike works out too. Like regular bike works out too.
You have to charge it.
Yeah.
Do you have a regular bike?
Yeah, I have a regular bike.
Oh, okay.
I have the my Sirius series.
Oh, okay.
It's a good bike too. It's super light. By the way, bike tips. Usually the more expensive bikes tend to be lighter. That is like usually the main things. Well designed, and they're made from a lighter material.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Also, I think from what I heard from the biking community, a Walmart bike is not a bike. It is a bike-shaped implement. Mostly because like, and I think you mentioned that you weren't used to the bikes with the brakes on the arms, and you're used to pedaling backwards on a bike. But a bike is supposed to have the implements on the hands because it allows for better control. It does allow for like better speed control.
I think there were things on the handles, but you can also stop it by pedaling backwards. Like you just like kind of like stop it by just like going back a little bit. Yeah,
but then like you can't like adjust in case, because like for me at least, like especially like if I'm going uphill, and when I prepare to go uphill, sometimes I want to move like the pedals to a position where I'm most comfortable with, or I get that power in the beginning. If I had a bike that like spun the wheel, like I'd have to lift up the bike a bit and then like move the pedal, and those bikes are kind of heavier. You know.
Yeah, and I have more experience with like Walmart bikes, so.
Yeah. But like they'll also break on you a lot faster too.
Yeah.
Like
It did, yeah.
yeah, they break really fast. Like it's kind of like one of those things where
It rusts easily.
yeah, it
too.
rusts easily, you know, because it's made from a material that rusts. And then pretty sure that if you try to put it on, like, ride it in the rain, it's gonna be super dangerous.
Yeah, yeah.
It'll be very dangerous to ride a Walmart bike in the rain.
Yeah.
Like the chain probably won't work or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. Like the chains rust, the chains also come off of the spokes really easily too.
Yeah, yeah. Like, because if you have like a serious bike, like that doesn't become a problem. That doesn't become a problem as much.
Oh, okay.
You know. And then like those bikes probably don't go up hills as well compared to an actual, like, you know, like versus a serious bike.
That's true. Yeah, cuz like when I tried out your bike,
Yeah.
I can easily go up hills.
Yeah.
But like with the Walmart bikes, I'm like, okay, forget it. I just walk
up. Yeah.
walk the bike up.
Yeah.
It's
But then
too
you try
much.
my bike, you're just like, oh yeah, I can go up this hill like pretty good. Like
Yeah.
pretty good. Like you can power through it.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely spend more on things that like it'll last you a longer time too.
And you don't need to buy like a super expensive bike.
What's a
or
good price?
A good price, maybe like $2,000, $3,000.
$3,000.
Yeah, I mean like that. You can get a good bike, even like secondhand too. There's a lot of people trying to sell their bikes. You can go to a bike co-op, which is like a bike co-op is a place that, like, you know, they do like bike maintenance. They do bike maintenance. They'll probably teach you a bit more about like how to ride, you know, like dealing with bikes too, because they're like, it's more like a community of like bike, like a central area for like community bikers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But it is annoying when you go to a place and you're just like, oh, why don't they have any biking racks? They don't have. Why don't they have bike racks here?
Yeah.
And then you definitely have to be careful because, you know, like, you get much more annoyed at people who park in the bike lane. I'm just like, there's like a seething rage in me when I'm like biking and there's someone parked in the bike bike lane. I'm just like, I just want to punch your mirror as I drive by.
Boom.
Pop. You know, like, the temptation is there.
Yeah.
I'm super tempted to do that, but I don't.
It makes you a better driver, I guess.
Yeah,
'Cause
like
you know what it's like.
you respect the bikers a bit more, you know. And yeah, it is cool to just be able to just, like, you know, putting in the energy you would for walking and then going way faster than you could running.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like you feel like you're going really fast too. If you're going like 20 miles an hour, you feel like you're cruising really fast.
Yeah. It's
right?
really relaxing. I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not really biking that much right now because it's raining super hard.
Yeah. There's storms and stuff.
Yeah. But yeah, like, biking is a great way to, like, get around, in my opinion. I enjoy it.
Yep. Let's see. International trip planning.
Oh yeah, we're planning a trip.
Which will be our honeymoon.
Yeah, which will be our honeymoon. I think it's gonna be a meme with us that, like, every trip we take on in the future is just gonna be our honeymoon.
Yeah, basically, because like, yeah, it was. I mean, like, I'm glad I took care of you. You know, when you got sick.
Yeah.
But like, the timing couldn't have been worse.
Yeah, it couldn't have been a worse timing.
It was pretty bad because like, we also didn't shop. We didn't do grocery shopping. Yeah. So there was no food for me to like cook a anything. Decent like meal. Thing for you.
Yeah, and then there's there was also the fact that because we did such a last minute planning with it, we could not get a refund and we like lost like quite a bit of money.
Oh yeah.
Like, it was so bad that we're just like, let's just give this away to someone because I feel bad like if no one went, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
it was quite a bit. And I mean, like, and also you didn't pay for the the fee that lets you get a refund if you
Yeah.
have to cancel last minute.
Yeah.
So that's one tip.
Well, here's the thing too. That thing had a special deal that it was cheaper than usual because you can't cancel because of it. Because
Oh,
it was
really?
a special deal specifically.
Oh,
But yeah,
okay.
like most places, like I was doing the planning, like the booking, and then I saw things like pay another $36 to be able to cancel like anytime before like the check-in date.
Yeah.
And then I was just thinking of the time I had 103-degree fever, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm gonna pay the $36 just
Yeah.
to be safe.
Pay the fees, guys. Like, especially at this time,
Yeah.
you know, during pandemics and stuff.
Yeah,
like,
during COVID times where
things
like
can happen.
sickness is like like
Yeah.
the slightest thing
Yeah.
can cause you to cancel a trip.
Yeah. And you don't want to lose your money.
Yeah, and like
It's-
there's more things that can cause your trip to be canceled.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It could be something it could be not you getting COVID. It could be you on a flight and then someone on that flight got COVID. Which causes your plans to get messed up too. Right?
Everything is more fragile and yeah, just like
Yeah.
pay the extra fees. Also, think about travel insurance.
Yeah.
I mean, like, we don't have to do that because we're just driving to Canada.
Yeah.
Because we can always like drive back.
Yeah, we can always drive back.
Yeah.
But like seriously, it's very there's a lot more that can go wrong on a trip now. I
Yeah.
feel like.
Yeah.
Like, what if you get COVID and have to quarantine for 2 weeks in like a hotel? Well, and then you planned only for like a 1-week trip,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That's good. That's like actually very nerve-wracking, right?
Yeah. And there was also an extra fee that we paid for each of us
Yeah.
when we booked the hotel, so that like we can, in case something happens, we can stay at the hotel longer.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's a good security blanket.
Yeah, it's a nice blanket.
Yeah.
And yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
We might have a big epic story, or nothing could happen.
Yeah. Hopefully it'll be a thing
nothing
that,
will happen.
Yeah,
right?
like
But at least I am paying for the security of mind.
yeah.
It's kind of like same thing with like, you know, like if you do a car rental and they ask you, oh, do you want your car insurance with that? Mm-hmm. And then a lot of people say no, but then those couple people get into a car accident and then have to pay for a new car for the company.
Oh, they have to like buy the car?
Yeah, pretty much, or like pay for repairs. That's what the insurance is for.
Oh wow. Okay.
Because you're responsible for the car while you're renting it. That's why you get the insurance, so that like, you know.
Is it like, do people avoid it because it's higher than regular insurance?
People avoid it because they're cheap.
Okay.
It's like adds like another like 100 to like the rental or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Or adds like, you know, adds some fee on top of your rental,
Okay.
which people are like, I don't want to pay for it.
Yeah.
But then
Okay.
just pay for it.
Yeah, because you'll be driving a different car than you're used to,
Yeah.
and probably driving roads that you're not used to driving on.
pretty
So
much,
like
so.
just like
Stay safe, people.
yeah.
Stay safe.
And for the trip to Canada, they have new regulations.
Mm-hmm.
You have to get a test,
Yeah.
which is, what is it? It's not the
Pre-molecular.
antigen
Pre-molecular. Pre-molecular
which takes
and
longer or something. Like,
Yeah.
it's a different test.
it's a different test because like the antigen quick test means that like, you know, it's going to be
The percentage accuracy is lower.
the percentage accuracy is lower, but it's quicker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, you have to schedule the test like 3 days within the
Like 5 days
the
in advance.
border
Yeah.
crossing.
3 days. Yeah, you have to schedule tests 3 days before you cross the border.
We haven't looked at re-entry into the US if they have any rules.
I mean, I think we are a U.S. citizen. So
I mean, like, we're citizens, but like, would we need to take another test in Canada?
I guess we look that up later.
We should, yeah.
Yeah, there's so much to traveling. It's annoying.
Yeah, like, and then you have to like download this app called ArriveCan.
Yeah.
Where you have to put in all your information about like if you've been fully vaccinated, put in your information on your vaccination. If you haven't been vaccinated, apparently they take people who have had a positive COVID result before, which means that you have more immunity to it.
Yeah, antibodies at the very least. But...
So it's like having COVID is the same as having fully...
or like increased immunity. But hey, just so for our viewers out there who don't exactly know how a vaccine works or how your immune system works, because I'm guessing a lot of people out there don't know. But how it works is that a vaccine is a dead version of the virus, right? You put that in there, and it kind of like tricks your immune system into killing it.
Yeah.
Right? And then after it has the knowledge of killing it, it will create T cells, which will help you fight it off.
Yeah.
Now, this is not immunity. It means that your body will fight off the virus again.
Yeah, it'll have the memory of how to deal with it.
Yeah, it'll have the memory of how to deal with it. This is how we deal with colds and flus. That's how flu shots work. Right? That's how any of these things work. Is that it means that you have the one time, and so the next time your immune system's ready for it.
Yeah.
And you will recover significantly faster.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's how viruses work. And so
you've had vaccines when you were children.
Yeah, you've literally had vaccines when you're children. Heck, polio was a thing in the past that we killed via vaccines, right? And I think for polio at the very least, the analogy that they used was, hey, take one kid, take all the kids in the school in a gym, and just cap 1 out of 100 by random, and that is polio pretty much.
Yeah.
So a vaccine.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very common sense. Yeah. But then it's not so common.
Yeah. You know what? We need to start making super pro-vaccine lies. You know how there are anti-vaccine lie, anti-vaccine
conspiracy theories.
Superstitions, conspiracy theories, stuff like that. Can we make pro-vaccine conspiracy theories this vaccine will make you into a super soldier or something like that,
It'll make you really fertile.
Your dick will be huge. You will be fertile. You'll be able to you'll get 100% chance of having twins. Next shot.
Your eggs will be super young. You can be a really old woman.
Your child will be Einstein smart if you have the vaccine.
It increases the IQ of your children.
Yeah, can we get pro-vaccine lies?
Yeah.
Can we get that going on?
I feel like people who are irrational are more creative than rational folks.
Yeah.
And then that's why a lot of conspiracy theories are rampant.
Yeah.
I feel.
Yeah. Getting your cell phone signal will be better if you have the vaccine.
Yeah, 5G signals.
You get a 5G signal, your cell phone will work better.
Yeah. Your internet will be faster and you'll get a job and...
Yeah.
Yeah. All these good things.
Just... Can we get that going?
You'll win the lottery.
Can people start spreading misinformation about the vaccine? I got a vaccine and totally won the lottery right afterwards.
Yeah, women are attractive to me now.
Yo, I got I got to sleep in a 5-man orgy after getting the vaccine. There's that secret sex dungeon that only accepts people with vaccines.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I'm sure that is the case nowadays. Because there are orgies and sex clubs and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they have to check.
Yeah, you can't join like the awesome sex orgy if you're like unvaccinated.
Yeah.
Speaking of speaking of like not being vaccinated or like not having proof of vaccination, a lot of restaurants have been asking for proof of vaccination.
Yeah. I think it's only coffee shops that don't ask.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll start as well.
Yeah, but usually most places will still allow takeout, but like in-person dining, they like more places have been doing.
Yeah.
More places have been doing like you need to show proof of vaccination.
Yeah, and I mean you have to wear a mask.
Yeah.
But then technically
you have to take it off. You have to take it off to eat, so it's just more. It's just it's courtesy.
Yeah.
Courtesy. If you don't need to like eat, if you're not actively eating, just wear the mask.
Yeah. Like we only take off the mask once the food arrives.
Yeah.
We put it back on when we like are done.
Yeah, after we're done.
Yeah, when we're talking and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And we went to a crawfish place yesterday.
There's a crawfish place, and it's interesting because like I think the owners are Vietnamese.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were speaking Vietnamese.
Yeah, so it's interesting because like we went there and it was like super like also very multicultural too going there.
Yeah,
like we saw we saw black people, we saw white people, we saw Asian people, we saw Mexican, like we saw like a wide variety of like ethnicities in there.
Yeah,
it was pretty cool.
Yeah, there were Chinese folks too, or they were speaking Chinese.
Yeah, but yeah, it is a cool place. I love po' boys. Po' boys are good. Yeah. They just remind me of Vietnamese sandwiches. Mm-hmm. I like eating crawfish. Crawfish is really good. I like crawfish.
Was that the thing with the lots of legs?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they're like little bugs.
They don't have a lot of meat in them.
Yeah, they don't have a lot of meat, but they're good. I like them.
Yeah. I like the yuca fries.
Yeah, you like the yuca fries, yeah.
They have a nice biscuit and fried chicken place.
Yeah, did you try that biscuit?
Yeah, I ate it.
Nice.
I finished it.
Was it good?
Were you looking forward to eating some of it? Okay.
I'm a weirdo
I consumed
who doesn't like biscuits that much.
Oh, I love biscuits.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have good biscuits, yeah.
Yeah, they got good biscuits?
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, we should go there just for the biscuits.
Just to get takeout?
Multiple biscuits.
Yeah, well, I'd also want to try out their fried chicken too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, we can go there.
Yeah, by the way, Korean fried chicken, that stuff slaps. It's so good.
Yeah.
Like,
Is it sweet?
I mean, not really. Mm-hmm. It's more savory. Mm-hmm. But like, yeah, I guess if you have sauce on it, you can get a sweeter sauce, But I usually like it without sauce.
Okay.
I don't like sauce on my fried chicken.
Oh, okay.
Too much, So I prefer like clean. I just prefer like naked fried chicken,
Oh, okay. What do you think they put in it?
Panko. They just do like a seasoning. They like seasoning, and then they like deep fry it. I think it's like their panko. Like they use like panko batter in their batter and stuff like that. Because like it just tastes good. Because I think America has like the like buttermilk like fried chicken. I don't like the crust of American fried chicken that I do like Korean fried chicken.
Do you think they take off the skin?
They keep it on. Because the skin actively makes a better crust. Because
it's fatty.
Yeah, because it's fatty and gets deep fried, so it makes for a better crust. Like I remember your family like always takes off the skin.
Yeah.
And in some cases, yeah, that's good, but in other cases, like you're wasting a lot of
good fat.
You're wasting a lot of good fat.
Yeah.
or even like it's a good barrier to like prevent cooking your to prevent like burning your food. Right?
Oh, okay.
Because like you would cook skin side down, and so like the burnt part, the skin gets burnt, but the meat doesn't get burnt.
Oh, you just take off the skin.
You can just take off the skin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That works too,
Yeah, it's I guess I'm not really sure why my family likes.
Yeah,
to take
like
off
your
the meat,
family has done
but-
weird cooking things where I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I mean, I don't eat meat, so.
Yeah, but even like I remember like one of your uncles, like he would cook the onions and then freeze them,
Yeah,
and then when he wanted to use them, he would just cook them again,
yeah.
which is mind-boggling because the reason why you would cook them is so that the flavor gets into your food.
Mm-hmm.
But then when you put them in the freezer, you have flavorless like onions that won't impart any flavor into your food that you cook into it next time. Like the next time around.
I think, to be honest, it might not be the flavor that he wants. It must be the look of it. Like,
yeah,
there are some things where it's like.
It's kind of like like, but like it's a thing too. It's like you might as well just not add onions.
Oh.
Right.
You can't really cook Ethiopian food without onions.
Yeah, but he's cooking them wrong with the onions.
Yeah.
Like, there's a reason why, like, it's a chemical reaction, it's like he's denying the chemical reactions that onions give to food that imparts, like, a certain flavor, that imparts, like, a certain, like, element to it, But yeah, I was like, man, that's weird.
I think it's also, like, when you cook it and then freeze it again, you get rid of the smell, I think.
Yeah, but you also just like you get rid of a lot of flavor too. Cause like the smell, it usually I told you about onions, like like what causes like watery eyes in onions. It's mostly like dull knives.
Oh.
Dull knives. Let's see, and yeah, like here's the thing, like. Your family just doesn't know how to cook. I'm sorry to say. I'm sorry to say.
And they don't bother. Very critical.
And they don't. No one bothers to look anything up, either.
Yeah, I mean,
don't bother like
cultures didn't have internet.
Yeah, I know, but like
and
now
we didn't have like recipe books. Like, there's no recipe books in Ethiopia.
That's true.
Like,
but that doesn't. Like, they didn't have it then, but they have it now. You can easily look it up now, and like
it's not as widespread, like access to internet.
Yeah, I mean, I guess like I came from a very traditional family that didn't have access to this, but now that we have access to it, we use it. Right?
You change with.
Yeah, you change with the time. You change with the times. Like like my dad like looks up different things, and like even maybe you look up how other Vietnamese people of the same culture do it, because everyone has their own different trick.
Yeah.
Right?
Every house has a different.
Yeah, and that's actually a thing that a lot of Americans are learning. That like, oh man, your family, my family did not like someone saying like, oh like my family didn't actually know how to cook. Because they like grew up with like they didn't actually know how vegetables tasted like, because they like had it all boiled for like forever.
Yeah.
They just ate boiled vegetables for like forever, and not had like roasted vegetables or anything like that.
Which contributes to you not liking vegetables.
Yeah, it contributes to you not liking vegetables.
Yeah.
Or like or hey, did you know that since like the 1980s, like Brussels sprouts have been like genetically modified to taste better. So if you like cook, like they've been bred to taste better compared to the 60s or 40s.
Oh.
So like now we have better tasting Brussels sprouts.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. And you roasting them is pretty good too. And yeah.
They're healthy.
Yeah, they're very healthy for you.
Eat your veggies.
Eat your veggies.
Let's see, another topic. We bought a bunch of plants.
Yeah, we got our spike buddies.
Cacti.
Yeah, we got cacti. I don't have to take care of the cacti as much. The lady told me specifically, just water it if it looks kind of dry.
Yeah, if the soil's dry.
Yeah, you shouldn't need to water it more than like once every other week.
Okay. And then our last topic, benefits of being a full-time
employee versus contract. I'm more respected in the company. Like
you can feel
yeah,
the different treatment.
Different treatment. There's a different treatment. I mean, usually on a team level, like it doesn't make a difference, but like on like a company level, like, oh, we're going to take everyone out for lunch except the contractors.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's so shady.
Yeah. Or like, you know, like contractors don't get health benefits. I mean, I worked for a contracting company, so I got health benefits, but the full-time benefits are much better.
Yeah, yeah. Sure.
Like, I paid a lot less for my benefits than, like, as a full-time employee than I have as a contractor.
Really? You pay more?
No,
as a contractor?
I pay more as a contractor. My insurance was terrible, too. Like, it wasn't good insurance. I have a better deal as a full-time employee.
Interesting.
I pay a lot less for my insurance than I did when I was a contractor.
So when you were a contractor, could you give your benefits, or like, can you, for instance, we got married after you found your full-time job?
Yeah, I could give you benefits. It just wouldn't be good benefits.
Okay.
Your benefits were actively better than mine. You know, I had to pay a lot for like having like health insurance. Health insurance as a contractor. Yeah,
like actually your position, you finding a full-time position affected our relationship, I think. Yeah. Because you felt more comfortable getting married.
Yeah, I felt more comfortable getting married. It's stability.
Yeah.
Because as a contractor, you're also first on the chopping block to getting fired. If like a project's not doing well or anything like that. So like, say if the project goes down, you're hired for that project as a contractor. But if the contractor goes down, like we're letting you go.
Yeah.
That happens. I still have a 401k, which is nice. I didn't have a 401k for a while. I'm like, oh shoot.
Yeah.
You get more vacation days. As I would be considered lucky if like my contract allowed me to have vacation days.
Interesting.
Because like a holiday could come and then I just don't get paid for the holiday.
Oh.
Yeah, as a contractor. A holiday will come, I don't get paid for that holiday.
For working on a holiday?
No, not working on because
PTO.
Like I'd have to use like PTO for a holiday where people just get the holiday free.
Oh, okay.
Like Christmas or Thanksgiving.
Oh.
Like I would have to use a PTO day for Thanksgiving or Christmas.
Or you would have to work on that day?
Or I just don't get paid that day.
Oh, okay. It's like unpaid.
Unpaid, you know, like because if you're full time, they'll pay for like a free vacation for like the major holidays. For like the major holidays, right? Okay. That don't go into your PTO or anything like that.
That's true, yeah.
But as a contractor, you either have to use PTO or you're lucky and they do pay for those days.
Oh, okay.
Right.
So it depends on the company.
Yeah, but there's also companies that only give you the federal holidays and nothing else.
Oh, okay. No extra. They wouldn't pay for like, what is it? What's a non-federal holiday? Cinco de Mayo or something.
Or like if you want to go, like for me, one time I wanted to go on vacation. I had to just work overtime to make up the make up the time. And just
what is it?
Oh, for my first Japan trip, for my Japan trip, I had to like work overtime to like do it. And I used to do that for like sometimes we went on trips. I would be like, okay, just tell me ahead of time so I can know that I can like work ahead of time, build up some time and get like, you know, like, hey boss, I worked 40 hours this last week. Can you last week and I didn't, it was under the table. It's like, I didn't write down I worked overtime. Can you just say I worked this week?
Oh.
Because if I say I worked overtime, then I get paid overtime fees, which is more money, which the company doesn't usually like. Okay. So if I just say, "Hey, I worked a lot of overtime these last couple of weeks. Do you mind if I just take a break for this week and you just write off?" And usually I'd have a good enough relationship with my boss that we'd be able to work out that deal.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
That's tricky.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I mean, like, for me, I've never been a contractor.
Yeah, you've never been
but I've worked in AmeriCorps.
Yeah.
which is
It's like
worse than a contracting position.
At least contractors, we get like paid.
Living wage.
Yeah, we get paid wages.
But the highest I've been paid in AmeriCorps was like 22.
Oh boy.
A year.
Oh,
and that was like
it's not a lot.
double what I got paid before.
Oh jeez.
So like basically in my career, I've gotten positions where like the next position would pay like almost twice as much.
Oh yeah.
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 So like before the 22,
Mm-hmm.
I got 10,000 a year. And then before that I had like 2,000 a year.
It's really how we get pay raises nowadays.
Yeah, switching jobs.
That's how we get pay raises nowadays. We don't get pay raises by staying at a company for years. We just yeah. It's interesting seeing like these Asian dramas where they just stay at the company for like they have like hardcore company loyalty. But that's like part of the culture too.
Yeah.
I remember when I went to Japan, and I think I had gone on like a Tinder date, right? Mm-hmm. And I had mentioned, I just like I just go from company to company, and that was like an alien concept.
She's like, wait, what?
Yeah, she's like, wait, what?
What is
like
that?
you're not like your name's not in like the dirt or anything like that for like going from company to company. And I'm just like, oh no, like in America it's like expected you do that nowadays. Like you don't show any company loyalty, and then you just because the company's not going to show loyalty to you for the most part.
Be loyal to yourself.
Yeah, so like because I've seen so many like people are like, I've worked at this company for like 30 years and now they're just like kicking me out heartlessly, you know? And it's like, that sucks.
Yeah. And that mentality is hard to break out of. Because for me, I used to work for government.
Yeah.
And my mentality was like, I should work until I get like 5 years.
Yeah.
But then right before 5 years, I was like, no.
I
can't take this.
Can't take it anymore.
So I just resigned like a week after, or like a week after I got married.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay,
I mean,
bye.
we also like talked about this too. We did talk about it for a long time. It was a long, lengthy discussion. Yeah. Of being like, hey, babe, and which kind of ended up being like, hey, look, just got this job. I have really good benefits. I could put you under my benefits. And then like you'll be good on benefits at the very good for benefits.
Yeah.
And then you can like focus on something else.
Yeah.
And I can support the both of us.
Yeah. And I still had my side hustles.
Yeah, you saw your side hustles too.
Yeah.
No.
So I had some income.
Yeah. So yeah, it was a nice like thing. Just I was just like, just quit your job. Like I didn't think like when we were dating, I wouldn't have been able to say that. But then like now, I think like with this like the newest job that I have, I was like, oh yeah, just go ahead and quit.
Yeah. Yeah, because I had to be convinced for a long time.
Yeah.
I was holding on. Even though I was like super unhappy at work.
Yeah, like you had to be really convinced.
I was just miserable.
Yeah, and you had to be convinced too because you're like, like what about like these things, right? And then like I ended up being like, okay, look, you're paying the house with your family and stuff like that. You've proven that you can make that money with your side hustles. Yeah. You know?
Yeah.
And so like, you've proven that you can make that money with your side hustles.
Yeah, I had to like really suppress my spending.
Yeah, and I'm like, you can live with me. I pay, like I pay for food. I'll just pay for food. Like I'll just support the house. Like I can support the both of us. Like no problem.
Yeah, it is pretty tough though. Oh gosh.
Yeah. It was tough. It was like nerve-wracking for a bit, but I think like it's nice having a safety blanket.
That's true. Right? I'm definitely grateful for that because like my mental health was suffering.
Yeah, it was really bad. You weren't doing well.
Yeah.
Like you got a full-on like rash.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was also top of like wedding stuff too.
Yeah, wedding stress, but still, like, work was making me like my body was.
Yeah.
I was not healthy.
Yeah, and that was after like the shutdown. Like you hadn't gone to like your work for like a while too.
Yeah.
Because like you hadn't gone to work for a while, right? You were like doing side hustles during like the main shutdown.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then they're like, okay, you guys have to come back now.
Yeah.
And then you were like, oh no. Oh
Yeah.
no, because you weren't used to it anymore.
Yeah.
You weren't used to the grind anymore.
Yeah.
You weren't used to waking up like super early in the morning to like catch the bus.
4:45. Oh
yeah, to catch the bus to go there, work your job, then take the bus back and like do like long and have this like long like commute time where like most of your day is like sucked away for what? Like this like miserable job.
Yeah. The Great Resignation. That's like the background behind a lot of people quitting, resigning from their jobs during the pandemic is like, what's the trade-off?
Yeah.
Like, like between just staying home or like, I don't know, like I think also people are just fed up with the system.
Yeah.
Like just like the system
fed
of
up
like
with like systems of like like employee abuse,
Yeah.
And like the managers who are like saying, "Oh, come back." They just want to flaunt their power.
Yeah, like just micromanage you or like if you can do the job remotely, why not?
Yeah. Most people can do their jobs remotely, and COVID has proven that like we can probably all do our jobs remotely.
Yeah. We can sustain the system.
Yeah, and like it's at least in like my field, like the tech field, it's like harder to justify going into the office.
Yeah,
because most people can just work from home.
Yep.
And like for me, like it's led to a lot higher quality of life too.
More sleep. If you have kids, you have more time with them.
Yeah.
I'm sure the kids who grow up, who are like kids now, they will be grateful for it, like looking back, probably.
Yeah. I mean, there's also other things too that's like interesting with schools. I'm glad that I didn't have to go to school during this time.
Oh, I would have been happy to stay home.
Okay.
I hated going to school.
Yeah. And then what else is there? But yeah, there's like other things too. Speaking of school, like online schooling, I remember watching my niece's like school play that was all online, all through webcams.
Oh really?
Yeah, it was like kind of creative and like interesting to watch too. Like,
oh okay.
Because it was like all about like the topic was actually like quarantine and like staying home, and everyone was via like on their webcams. But it was this creative like play that like they presented, and they would just switch the kids like webcam, and it was like a social distance play. I was like, that's cute.
Interesting.
I was like, that's really cool.
Okay.
Yeah. So like stuff happened. Stuff you can still do stuff. It's not like people's lives are being like people's lives are being ruined by COVID.
Yeah. But there's resilience.
There's resilience.
Humans
like people can people can keep at it.
Yeah. Find new ways of doing things.
Yeah.
There's always something major that happens in every generation, I think.
Yeah. I know a lot of people that picked up cooking and, like people who picked up cooking and baking during this time. Picked up new hobbies,
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And yeah, heck, more sleep. You're doing a lot better. Like, a lot of your stress too was your lack of sleep.
Yeah. I have less muscle tension.
Yeah, less muscle pain. You have less pains in your body.
Yeah.
You're like a lot more relaxed too. You're less anxious about like things. Just because like you sleep more.
Yeah, and I've started a gym membership.
Yeah, you started.
Is it considered a gym?
Yeah, I'll consider it a gym membership. It's class, but
it's a Pilates thing. So.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have been able to do it if I was going into work.
Yeah, if you're going to work where like all your free time is just like,
commute.
You don't have time to go to the gym.
Yeah.
Yeah. So lived the healthiest life.
Yeah. So for us, we have
Yeah.
little complaints.
I picked up drawing again, which is something I haven't done since like, 10 years, in 10 years. So yeah, like I have more time to like draw now too, right? Yeah, so it's been great. And then waking up, just getting sleep. That's like the thing that like is great. Just getting like the extra 1 or 2 hours of sleep.
Yeah. That's true.
And we're more productive that way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, one little thingy. Star Trek Prodigy.
It is the new Star Trek series. It's airing on Nickelodeon. It's a Star Trek for kids, and it definitely feel the for kids part. You know.
Yeah.
It's
we still watch it because we're fans of Star Trek.
But like, there's one character that's super annoying.
Yeah.
And it's like he's such a kid's show character.
Oh, okay.
Where he's just super annoying and like, hey, I'm saying no to authority and stuff like that. But in like the most annoying way possible. Of like, it's such a kid like
it's
rebellious
like risking
attitude.
Everyone's lives and.
Yeah, and it's
I was like, I'm pissed off now.
All the other kids in this show, like all the other kid characters, are fine. They're great. I love them.
Yeah.
But like the main character is just an annoying brat.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's it for now. Like we still gotta wait till new Star Trek shows are out. But this
next year there will be a lot of shows.
Yeah, next year there will be like quite a few shows. Orville.
Is there more Star Wars? What is it?
There's a
Mandalorian?
Boba Fett show. There's a Boba Fett show.
Boba
Fett.
That's the black woman alien.
No. Ahsoka. That's Ahsoka.
Oh, Ahsoka-san.
Yeah. Ahsoka. I just say Ahsoka.
Ahsoka.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ahsoka Tano, I think.
Tano. Okay.
Yeah. She's like Ahsoka Tano is like the character from the Star Wars Clone Wars TV show, which the showrunner made back in the day. And so Ahsoka is a really interesting character where like the fans hated her at first, but then by the end of like their character arc, everyone loves her. Like all the fans went from like disliking this like who's this kid character to yo, this character's the coolest because the character grows up.
Oh, okay.
The character grows up from being a kid to being an adult, to being like a young adult and being like really like independent and cool.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Interesting.
And,
okay.
Yeah, and
yeah,
it's
I
like,
haven't watched that, so.
Yeah, and Ahsoka's thing is that she was Anakin's apprentice, so she was the apprentice of Darth Vader. But this was before Darth Vader became evil. Right.
Okay.
So she has like an emotional attachment, but then also like kind of like, and she has a thing of being betrayed by like the Jedi Order too. So she like escaped like the whole like the Jedi Order like being destroyed.
Oh, okay.
Because she kind of like went off on her own.
Before it got destroyed?
Before it got destroyed, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, she's a cool character.
Interesting.
She's a really cool character, and like yeah, everyone likes her. Like you saw her appear, and you're like, you immediately feel like this character's important. I don't know about this character, but they're super important.
Yeah. You can feel the confidence.
Yeah, you feel the confidence. It's as if they had another TV show to develop this character.
That's true.
You know, that happens in like certain shows where you're like, oh, like this character has had a whole show about them, you know, like about them. Now they appear and like the fans go crazy.
I feel it also depends highly on the actor.
Yeah, the actor too. Because it's an animated character, a character from an animated show going to live action.
Yeah.
Which is an important thing. You have to find a character that works for this too.
Yeah.
There's like villains too who are like have this too, where like, oh, this character was from like the books, and you get excited when they appear like on TV.
Yeah, villains I feel should be a better actor than the protagonist.
for sure. There's a villain that I know through his books, and then like he appeared in like the Star Wars Rebels stuff, where I think he dies in that, but then like he's still getting books. So I'm getting the things like maybe he'll come back.
Oh, he didn't really die.
He didn't really die? I don't know. He's cool. He's kind of like in a world where like the villains are cartoonishly evil. And they're like, oh, I'll kill you for the single act of insubordination. You have a very intellectual and calm-minded villain who's like, oh, you didn't exactly listen to me? Well, why was that? And then talk to me about it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And
Okay.
he's like, oh, that was very reasonable. You disobeyed my orders because of, like, you know, you thought in the situation that this was a better move. And it turned out good, actually. I have to punish you because of just how the chain of command works, but don't worry, you'll be good.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Or he like, and his whole thing is that he studies because like, you know, the Empire is like super racist, right? And they have a big disrespect towards other alien species. But he himself is an alien. Like he's blue. He's like a blue human.
Oh, okay.
He's blue and he has red eyes. But like he researches the species of the of like that he's like usually interacts with like a bunch of different species, and he especially likes art.
Oh, okay.
And he's like, because of their art, it'll be something silly like because of their artwork and how they represent their culture in their artwork, they're more inclined to act a certain way in the face of adversity. So Therefore, this species is more likely to go all in. So we need to be prepared for an all-out, like advanced. You know, like he uses like the culture, like their culture, to like kind of like profile them, profile them. And like he's kind of like the guy who like, you know, he's like, oh, let me talk to you, like, you know, let us talk, you know.
Oh.
And he has like the most loyal, like his henchmen are the most loyal to him, right? Because he treats them good.
Oh, okay.
He gives them good
benefits.
Good benefits. He's the type. Okay. He's the type to be like, oh, your mother is not doing well. Go visit your mother. Go visit your mother. Go visit your mother because you'll be a better worker.
You'll be a good assassin.
Because this thing with your mother is distracting you right now. I cannot afford distractions. You know?
Oh, okay.
It's that sort of thing. While like, you know, the other Star Wars villains, it's like, you have shown weakness and
that's true.
You know.
Or like other villains will be like, they will pretend to care about, you know, the sick mother.
Yeah.
And just like kill them.
Yeah.
When they leave, they're like, oh, you're showing that you don't care.
This is like a character that's more like, you know, like, oh, you have aspirations for promotion. Well, we'll work on that. You know, it just happens he just works for space Nazis.
Oh, okay.
You know?
Okay.
It's
sounds
that
like
sort
a
of
good
thing.
boss.
He you read about him and he's like exactly like a good boss, and he has books dedicated to him where it kind of acts like a Sherlock Holmes story where like you have a character that's like his assistant, and it's usually in the perspective of his assistant, and his assistant reacts to everything, you know.
Oh, okay.
But then at the end, like the assistant like ends up getting like a really good job, like, you know, ends up like growing up as an individual too, and you're like, oh man, I really like this assistant character now.
What's his name?
The assistant or the villain?
The villain.
Thrawn.
Thrawn.
Yeah, Grand Admiral Thrawn. He doesn't have any special powers either. He's just intelligent.
Oh, okay.
Like his superpower is his intelligence. And this
How
is
come
like,
he's accepted into the Empire if he's an alien?
Because he pretty much, he's like, look, the Empire is the only way, because he's like from like a different part of space, unassociated with the Empire.
Oh, okay.
And he's like, look, we're dealing with this threat in this part of space. I can help you prepare for this. And I can help you all. Like, and he's like, he uses it as like a bargaining chip too. He's like, I have knowledge and talents that will help out the Empire.
Oh, okay.
Stuff like that. And pretty much it's kind of like they tried to, like, there's like a lot of stuff that's like, oh, they tried to like not promote him or stuff like that. But he's so good that like they can't afford not to.
Interesting.
they can't afford not to give him like these like things. And he's usually against a lot of the stuff that the Empire does. Like he's actually at, like, you know, in the movies there's the Death Star, the big giant death station that is in the books, like they go into detail of like, this project is taking up so much money. Like we could actively be using the money to making this big super weapon to just make more ships. You know, we could just make more ships and it'll do the exact same thing. Actually, it'd be more effective than making a big super weapon that's just there to that's just there to like for the ego of like the main villain of like the Emperor.
Oh, okay.
Though the Emperor has his own reasons why he's making the super death weapon, because like he has it lets him channel his like dark energies more, and it sparks more fear into the populace, and he gains more power through the fear of like the populace. So that's where he's coming from. But these people, but like the average day-to-day person doesn't know about weird space wizard magic. So they're like, why don't we just make more ships?
Oh, okay.
You know?
Interesting.
So and his thing is like, oh, I have this new like this new like fighter jet that because the rebels have stronger fighter jets than we do. And there's a whole another long other reasons for that. But he's like, we need to up our fighter jet, like our fighter jets, because our fighter jets just can't like compete. We have good strong raw power, but then like our maneuverability with these fighter jets are like not there.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think Star Wars is very interesting as like I actually am not that much of a fan of the movies. I'm much more of a fan of the books and like the TV shows and like the small other series, because they go into like, because in like a book or a TV show you have more time to like flesh out the world and flesh out like what kind of people live in these worlds. While in the movies you don't have much time for that.
Yeah, that's true. Did we talk about Dune?
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think we did. We should make another podcast for that. So we're going to end this podcast here. We'll probably record another one. About Dune. Okay. Well, I'll talk to you later. Thanks for listening. This podcast is going to be split up to multiple parts, probably. Yeah. It's really long.
Yeah.
So if you made it this far, hey, thanks for watching. We'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.